Okay, good evening, everybody. Today we will learn how can we manage the conflict in safety behavior. I have given the notes in the Google Classroom. I'm requesting all of you, please go to the Google Classroom. Is the classroom visible to all of you?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So okay, and now you please start reading from Cart Levin.
Yeah. Okay, sir. So Kurt Lewin explained that the human behavior is influenced by psychological forces and conflicts between the different goals.
Hmm. Next.
Power plants. Approach. One is approach. Approach conflict occurs when a person must choose between the two desirable alternatives. In a safety behavior, worker may face a situation where both the choices appear positive. For example, completing a task quickly may help achieve the production target, while carefully following the safety procedures ensures the protection and prevention of accidents. Both outcomes are desirable, but worker must decide which one to prioritize. Second is
Correct.
avoidance.
No,
Yeah.
okay, one sec. Now this is the approach conflict or the double approach conflict.
Yeah.
So have you observed this type of conflict in your plant? Anybody
Uh,
can discuss?
yeah. Actually, sir, this completing the work in a quicker time, that we have observed many times, and maybe that is a resulted into incidents also. However, second conflict which is there, no, that is following the procedure to ensure the protection and prevention of accidents. That sometimes is not means. See, though the we have all the practices in place, but the first conflict is always first situation is always present in the premises.
Okay, so in case of the approach conflict, it is called the double approach conflict. Okay, so between the two goals, individual lies. Okay, that means individual wants to achieve the goal one as well as the goal two simultaneously. So this part is very much important for the conflict management. So when you want to give the psychological counseling related to the conflict management, then you have to think about the double approach conflict. Any other observation? Any other student can give? So first we read the paragraph and then we discuss. Ujjwal, can you tell double approach conflict? Have you observed? Which is said, have you observed? Okay, so now you go to the avoidance conflict. Anand, please start. Read
Yeah. Now the avoidance approach, avoidance point.
avoidance, double
Avoidance conflict
avoidance.
occurs when the yeah avoidance conflict occurs when the person must choose between the two undesirable alternatives. In an industrial safety situation, worker may face the decision to stop the machine due to a suspected safety risk and face the criticism for the delaying work, or continue operating the machine and risk the possible accidents. So both the options create the stress and the internal conflict.
Correct. So, have you observed this type of conflict in your plant?
Mm.
We can discuss.
Uh, this first one, the may not be directly related to the machine stoppage. However, indirectly related to some other work which is ongoing, and maybe he is confused whether I should discontinue the work or I should continue the work because my uh, work will get delay. And most probably, second part, people choose continue the operation by taking the risk, and that get resulted into the accident.
Okay.
Yes, sir. In construction industries and O&M of power plants, it is being seen that even supervisors and workmen know that these are the unsafe situation or unsafe acts, but still they continue the job due to the production pressure or work progress pressure. So even knowingly they are doing the same. But when the intervention is done by the safety officer or the engineer, then they are started correcting. So this behavior is observed at entire area.
That's good. So, in this condition, how can you control?
Sir, for controlling the more and more intervention is required. When we are taking round safety officers, even senior leadership team and executives, we are encouraging more and more interventions. So when we intervene more, the unsafe behavior is corrected on spot, and psychological safety, behavior-based safety also being implemented. So this by this way we are correcting. Because in construction industries many workers are new, and floating manpower is also there. So
Okay.
this is quite difficult, but we are approaching more and more interventions and behavior based safety.
Okay. Good observation. Any any other student can contribute?
Sir, this avoidance factor, it is somehow directly linked to the number of accidents which are occurring also, because
Hmm.
I think I don't remember the exact paper, but I have read somewhere that most of the incidents occur post 3 p.m., between 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. That is because the worker want to go home early and quickly finish the job, as they don't get OT, overtime money. They want to finish the job and go home. So this avoidance conflict creates that, if I don't complete my work at that time, it will be late for me to go home and I will not even gain something from out of it. And if I complete it, then also it will, if I complete it in an unsafe situation, then it will be a hazard for my own body.
Thank you, Sejal. It's a very good observation. You have mentioned the time factor also. That is very good. So this is avoidance conflict. Now next is the approach avoidance conflict. Anand, please read it.
Yeah. So approach avoidance conflict occurs when a single goal has both the positive and negative aspects. For example, finishing a task quickly may bring appreciation, from the supervisor and increase the productivity. But it may also involve the skipping the safety checks and increasing the risk. The worker feels attracted to the reward but also aware of the potential danger.
So have you observed this thing?
Yeah, we have observed it in many of the renewable projects where the installation of the solar panels is required, and there is some target given to the team, member of 3 4 people together. So in a day they, you should install so many panels on the platform. So because in order to complete the work fast, they skip some of the safety measures. So that we have observed at the site.
So how can we manage?
So basically, awareness to the workforce about the potential risk of skipping the safety measures at one, and also about the behavioral approach,
Okay,
improving the behavior of the workforce. These two things.
okay. Any other?
Sir,
Any?
the
Please
root,
contribute.
yes, sir.
Hmm.
The root cause for for someone doing some work hastily could be poor planning of project manager or project controller also. If the project controller is having poor planning of resources and taking elements and enrolling people into the work, then ultimately at end it will create a load of on all the workers. Instead of that, if he does that systematically, enhances his planning, then all the steps will happen in a particular time frame and no one will need to make it as their goal to do it something fastly.
Okay, this is good. Any
So
other
Ujjwal,
person can
yeah,
contribute?
Ujjwal this side. So many time it happens basically in the shutdown projects where we have to finish the some task, and the charge existing line. Okay, you can see in the transmission line as well where the railway crossing is there or some crossing is there. Then what happens? We have a window of 2 to 4 hours in which we have to lay, suppose 400 kVA line. We have to lay the 400 kVA line. Uh, and before laying the 400 kVA line, we have to remove the, existing railway line, railway electricity line. And then after, support that post of the existing railway electricity line so that it will not collapse. And after that we have to accomplish the job of lifting stringing of stringing between the towers of the conductors. Then again we have to do the reinstallation work of the railway line and resumption of the line. In that case, many time it happens we deploy two type of gangs or two group of workers which is working on the left and right side, left and right side of the transmission line. Okay, so
Hmm.
in that case, because we have a tight timing to resume the work of to resume the work after, and to continue to give clearance to the railway so that they can start the railway operations. So at that time, many time it happens that the reward link scheme is there, that if some gang is doing the work and say it's a 2 hour work, they will finish in the 1.5 hour, then they will be rewarded, and which is much lesser than the the fee that we are paying to the railways. In that case, many times the safety is bypassed. And because we have a both pressure of the railways and work work pressures, so it happens, and such type of conflict arises.
Okay, thank you, Vijay. Now, how we can manage this situation?
Sir, in that case, we have to, only one thing is there, we have to deploy only those manpower who is trained in working safely. Because if we, change the manpower, they will, do in the manner, so that the safety can be bypassed. So only trained people we can allow. Then, at the maximum time, they will not bypass the safety. Like using PPEs at the height work. So this is only the way.
Okay, thank you. Jogesh, can you give any observation? Hello,
Yes,
Jogesh,
sir.
are you there?
Yes,
Please.
yes, sir. So I have also observed many times, sir. Actually, I was in data center project, so there was so many conflicts there, like work work pressure from the management, because the data center project is very uh, high risky project and very short time project. So there was many times. We observed that work pressure from top management for hurry up the job and completion the job. So these things observed, sir.
So, how you can manage this situation?
So for management involvement and continuous walkthrough and training session, arranging training session, those workmen. So yes, sir.
Any other observation? Any other student can contribute? Shobit, sir,
Yeah.
please.
Sir, in this type of conflict, as it is there, ki workers are means the workers are also aware of the hazards. So mostly this kind of
Hmm.
thing is happening with the skill kind of labor only. I mean skill kind of workers mostly. So in this case, since they are aware of the hazards, what we can do, we can uh, put the checks kind of things where they should monitor the what are the controls are there in that particular job, because they are already aware of the hazards, but they have to keep on checking the whatever the controls are available while doing or executing the particular task. So they if they keep on checking those controls at regular interval, they can complete their work safely.
Hmm. That's a good idea. Okay, Anand, now you read double approach avoidance conflict.
Yeah, double approach avoidance conflict occurs when a person must choose between the two alternatives, and each alternative has a both positive and a negative element. For instance, worker may choose between the two work assignments. One task may be closer to his expertise but involves working near the high voltage equipment, while another task may be safer but physical demanding the time consuming. Each option has advantages and disadvantages, creating the more complex decision conflict.
Have you ever observed this thing?
Uh, mm, 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 Not exactly. However, though the job is near to the risky area, people choose to work where they are expert because sometimes they show the behavior of overconfidence or the complacency. So that behavior we have seen, not exactly which is explained in this example. However, the behavior we have observed at the site, project sites.
Okay. This is a
However,
very
a role of
serious,
the
serious
yeah,
condition.
however, role of the supervisor is very important in this case, or maybe engineer, because worker may not be capable of taking decision in that case. So supervisor or engineer should guide him which job is to be addressed first, and then go for the second job.
Okay. Any other observation? Sejal, can you add something?
No, sir, I don't have observation.
Hmm. Yogesh, Shomir, have you
This
seen
type of
this type of?
No,
yes,
sir.
Samir. Hello.
Hello? Huh.
Yes, Samir here. So this type
Uh-huh.
of conflict mostly is not possible across our sites because as Anand sir has said, the work is being done under means the instruction of the supervisor and our engineers who are issuing the permits. So the permit is issued for the particular task. So here I think that the option is for the workers, the option is not there to choose between the jobs or to choose between the tasks because they are assigned the job for which the permit is issued, for which the JSA or the risk assessment is being done, and they are executing only those jobs. So I think this kind of situation in case of permit environment is not possible.
Okay, okay. Now, Anand, please read the next para.
Yeah. So double avoidance conflict occurs when the person must choose between two situations that is both contains negative outcomes, and avoiding one leads to the facing another. In the safety context, the worker may either report a, colleague unsafe behavior and risk damaging their relations, or remain silent and feel responsible if accident occurs later. Both alternatives are unpleasant, forcing the worker into the difficult decision.
Is it clear to all of you?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go to the next one.
Safety psychology. In the safety psychology, these different types of conflicts explain why workers sometimes experience hesitation or the stress while making safety decisions. Their behavior is shaped not only by the knowledge of safety rules but also by the psychological tension created by competing motivations and consequences.
I think this is clear to all of you, this part.
Yes, sir.
Mm.
Okay. We are working on the safety style of the workers. And we have noted that is the proactive safety style that is highly correlated with the spiritual safety style. Okay, that means going to the temple and doing the prayer, etc. And proactive safety style means uh, worker can guess that whether there is any possibility of hazards or accident in near future for doing some work. So this thing is there. Okay. And there is another safety style that is called the retroactive safety style. In case of the retroactive safety style, we have noted that uh, when accident takes place, after that, workers are thinking that is what are the underlying reasons. And proactive safety style and the reactive, not the retroactive, reactive safety style, they are negatively correlated. But proactive is highly correlated with the spiritual safety style. So can anybody tell me why we have received this type of data? How does spiritual exercise can help in developing the proactive safety style? Hello, Farah, are you here? Hello, Farah.
Sir, in fact, if you see that final World Cup match uh, between India and New Zealand, I think my camera is on. So our
Okay.
team, yeah, our team
Uh,
visited, I think,
Yes, sir.
one of the
Hello,
temple.
sir.
Hello, am I
okay,
audible?
first,
Hello, sir.
yes, one sec, Farah. Anand, please continue.
Yeah, so before that final match, I think it is a semi-final match when it was in Mumbai between India and England. So that day, before the one day, before the match event, one day before, our team went to the temple in Mumbai, Siddhivinayak temple. So that was not only with the workforce, but also even in the players, that psychology is there. That before going to do any job, going for any big event, the visit to temple is, I think, it is a in a nature or the culture of India. Maybe workforce also may think in that line.
Okay, thank you, Anand. Now I am showing our data. So, Farah, please you show the correlation among
Okay,
the
sir.
three
The
proactive, uh,
huh. Yes,
reactive,
yes.
and the supportive. Hmm.
Oh, okay, sir. One second.
Farah, I'm making you host. Shomir, you can tell it better way. Okay, Shomir, I am expecting
Yes, sir.
because this data based upon the MTPS data.
Okay.
So this is the observation, and we are thinking how the spirituality affect the safety lifestyle. Because we have noted that is the people are following the proactive lifestyle and spiritual lifestyle more in comparison with the reactive lifestyle.
These spiritual things will help in avoiding the conflicts and uh, will help in making the decision between two conflicts. So if person is spiritual, then he can decide better. Is it like that?
Maybe because it is the data from MTPS. I have not received this type of analysis, sorry, this type of data in other plants. But in your plant, I have noticed.
Sir, this is the correlation. Will you be able
Please
to?
share. Yes.
Yes.
So this is the correlation. Okay. So here you can find out the proactive. Another one is the, oh, it is retroactive. Okay. Retroactive. Another one is the supportive. And here you can find out that is the proactive is highly correlated with the supportive. Supportive, basically the spirituality and the total score also. And in case of the retroactive, hello, Para.
Yes, sir. Oh, it's
Please
gone.
share the screen.
Yes, sir. It's, I don't know how it's.
It is gone.
Yes, sir. Can you see now?
It is coming. Now here you can find out. That is the correlation very high. In case of the retroactive, another one is the supportive, but not the proactive. Proactive, significant, it is 0.52. But in case of the retroactive, you can find out 0.65. And the supportive, that is the spiritual, that is the 0.66. Sumit, so can you share some of your observation?
Yes, sir. But means by looking at this data, means I am aligned that if the person is situation and in line with the our theory, means I can assume that if the person is spiritual, so because conflict is mostly conflict situation is to decide between two situations. So if the person is spiritual, he is having control on his thoughts. So in that case, he can decide on the right option, and which will help uh, in executing the task or executing the job safely. So that's what means based on this theory and data, I can correlate.
Okay, thank you, Shamit. Farah, please you share proactive reliability and
Yes,
the
sir.
retroactive reliability and the supportive and the full scale.
Okay, sir. So this is the reliability of proactive.
Reliability is 0.699. That means you can tell 0.7. And
So
now
supportive
this
is
is the supportive is 0.59 and proactive is 0.7. Another one is the you go this
reactive.
retroactive.
Then sir
You go to the
reactive.
retroactive. No, retroactive. I have to.
Okay. Retroactive electrician, sir. I have to. Yes, I'm just adding up the items.
Sir, actually, I'm not being able to comprehend the meaning of this proactive, reactive, supportive, active.
Proactive means I can predict. Okay. And in case of the retroactive, that means when accident happened, after that I can think that what are the underlying reasons. And the next one is supportive. Here you are expecting support from the spiritual exercise. For example, we are thinking that this accident happened, it should not happen in my uh, land, etc. So we can pray for the God,
Hmm.
pray to the God no? That it should not happen.
So can I tell them one of the item of supportive so that they can understand?
Yeah, yeah.
So there are items in supportive like I spend time in prayer or meditation every day. I make decision based on spiritual values. I forgive others when they hurt me. I keep my promises and commitments. So these are the items of supportive.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and for retroactive, one of the item is that I have been advised by my doctor or family to stop substances use, but I continue.
Hmm. Risk-taking behavior.
Hmm.
Okay.
And proactive,
Proactive, I keep important phone numbers, doctors, fire ambulance ready at home. I avoid heavy meals before bedtime.
These three parameters are only there, no?
These are the items. Yeah, we on the basis of these items, we are using one scale, and on that basis, we are analyzing the result. So this is a 5 point Likert scale. So if somebody says I keep important phone numbers, doctors, fire ambulance ready at home, and he's strongly agree with the item, that means he is more he's showing high scores in proactive.
In that previous table, there was a column of proactive, reactive, and supportive active, and a
Huh.
row the same.
Acha, the this one you're talking about the correlation.
Correlation. Yes,
Correlation means
correlation.
that is the grand mean actually. The grand mean of all the three domains.
What does this comprehend? Like if proactive to proactive
So if
total mean.
the proactive का total mean we have taken out. There are 18 items in proactive, and then retroactive maybe there are few items. Supportive में 9 items were there, so we have taken out the mean, and then we have taken out the grand mean on the basis of these three mean.
Hmm.
And in comparison to this mean, we have done the analysis, the grand mean in comparison to the grand mean.
Here there is pro retro.
How that is a I have I have put it name like that. Pro retro ka combo. हाँ. Actually, it is a grand mean. In report, I'm not writing like that because in Jamo bhi I'm putting it like that.
Everything got
now
used.
Farah, you share the histogram,
Yeah, sure.
not the histogram, that is the, which one? Histogram.
Yes, sir. So this is a grand mean histogram.
Huh. This is the histogram, the density. It follows just normally,
Distribution.
probability. Hmm. Another one, you go to the proactive.
हाँ.
So here, this is the proactive, and here you can find out the negative skewness data. Okay. And the mean may lie within the 4.0 to 4.5. And go to the retroactive.
Yes.
So here it is noted that positive skewness of the data. So mean may lie from 1 to 2. This is clear to all of you? Show me this is the MTPS data.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, Farah, now you close and you make me host.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are the host.
Is
Okay.
this analysis done for other divisions also?
Yes, sir. Abhijit sir, but the domain was supportive domain was not there in earlier report. Supportive is there in this report, MTPS plan.
Questions were same, na, in other divisions.
Items, no, sir. In the previous report, I guess that the scale was containing in like the scale was having only 30 items. This time, the scale is having 35 items.
Now I'm just asking, is it that the questions are different? That is why it is showing like this? Because I think this behavior is common for all the sites, mostly. This is my understanding. Why it has demonstrated in uh, Mundra, I do not know, but I think it is the same thing.
S- okay, I think Roy, sir, do you
No,
want to
we have
answer?
to, yeah. That is the thing. That is the spiritual lifestyle that is also available in PPGCL data, TPNODL data. So in that data, we have included the spiritual lifestyle.
Do
But
we
the
have
spiritual
any
lifestyle,
Holdi and
yeah,
Jojobera data?
same. I think so.
Holdi and Jojobera, did we
Uh,
collect this
yeah,
data?
yeah, yeah. I think so.
Okay. My interpretation, I'm saying I do not know. Just I was trying to think why this happens. See, anybody who is spiritual, uh, not necessarily, but ego uh, dissolution is a possibility. Ego dissolution is a possibility. So, in that case, there is a faith in some supreme power which causes them to think properly. When somebody thinks based on ego and self satisfaction, based on ego, then there are chances of making wrong. I'm trying to understand and find the answer to it, but just thoughts.
Yes, sir. I actually, sir, in the items which are there in the supportive, it's more spiritual items which makes your temperament also little bit cool.
That is okay, but I'm saying correlation. Correlation, I'm
Huh.
trying to understand.
Okay, correlation, yeah.
Sir, any thoughts?
Okay. Acha, another theory is there. That is the Rabindra's psychotherapy-based consciousness model in safety behavior conflict management. So
No,
after learning this
but I'm
thing,
saying
here you can.
spiritual versus positive safety behavior. Any thoughts on that from your side?
Yes, Abhijit sir. Now we are going to the another theory, and here you can find out why the spiritual factor contribute. Okay.
Okay.
So, Akash, can you read?
Yes, sir. Good.
Please.
But,
Ravindric psychotherapy-based consciousness model.
but sir, nothing is showing. So I have to open.
Okay. I'm sharing it. Yes, now it is clear to you.
Yes, yes.
Please read.
Uh, saf- Safety behavior conflicts can be explained through the Murta, Rag, and Saraswat, layers of consciousness in industrial environments, such as power plants. Workers often face internal conflicts while making safety related decisions. These conflicts arise because different layers of consciousness influence behavior in different ways. The Murta
Correct.
layer represents material and instinctive concept,
Instinctive. Hmm.
instinctive consciousness. It's connected with bodily comfort, habit, and immediate action. In safety behavior, Murta consciousness may lead workers to take shortcuts or ignore safety procedures in order to save time or reduce physical discomfort. For example, a worker may remove protective gloves because they feel uncomfortable while handling equipment. In this situation, the conflict arises between physical convenience and adherence to safety rules. The rag layer represents emotional and relational consequences. It is associated
Consciousness.
with yes, sir. It is associated with feelings, attachment, group, belonging, and interpersonal relationships. Safety behavior conflict in this layer often arises due to social pressure or emotional loyalty to colleagues. For example, a worker may notice a safety violation but may hesitate to report it because it might create trouble for a co-worker or delay the team's work. In this case, the conflict exists between emotional attachment and safety responsibility. The Saraswat layer represents reflective awareness, knowledge, and wisdom. It involves rational thinking and ethical judgment. When Saraswat consciousness becomes dominant, a worker is more likely to make decisions that prioritize long-term safety over immediate consequence or emotional pressure. For
Immediate
example,
convenience.
yes.
Immediate convenience.
For example, a technician may stop a machine and report a potential hazard even if it delays production. In this situation, wisdom and awareness regulate the impulses and emotions that may lead to unsafe behavior. Safety behavior conflict therefore occurs when murta impulses and rag emotions dominate over saraswat awareness. When Saraswat consciousness becomes stronger, it regulates the other two layers and promotes responsible and safe behavior. This layered model helps explain why safety decisions in industrial setting are not only technical but also psychological and ethical.
So, any observation about this
Sir,
Murto, Rag,
actually,
and Saraswat?
in our day-to-day activity, I have seen workmen when nobody is noticing, workmen remove their personal protective equipment. Like a person is doing any cutting or welding work, and he removed his face shield. When we intervene and ask why you are removed, he says, "I'm uncomfortable with this equipment." So we have seen like that. They are
Okay.
uncomfortable. And second thing is when worker sees any unsafe act, if it is other gang, he hesitate to report. So for this, we are working psychological safety and reporting system for improving this. Like that, man ki suraksha. So
Okay.
we are working on it. We are in non that much stage right now. If people are report, so we are working on it. So people don't hesitate and report fearless. So both
So,
things we are observing day to
instinct,
day.
Yeah, yeah. So this is related to the risky behavior.
Yes.
And in relation with the Saraswat layer, have you noted?
No, very rarely, in 1 or 2% cases, because worker don't want to report any conflicts or any, because they don't want to make bad relationship with co-workers.
Okay. So that means they are in Rag or Murto layer,
Yes.
not
At
going to
workman
the
level, at
Saraswat
workman level, yes.
at Wakmin level.
Even some supervisors also doing in Murta and Rag.
Acha.
Yeah.
Now, Vijay sir, you want to add something?
I'm not able to understand properly, actually. I'm trying to understand and understand this behavior because it is the internal facets of the person. Uh, and I understand in the first, say, the previous one, you said that there are conflicts. So one has
Mm.
to choose between the conflicts. So it is the total system which is responsible for this. So though people told about the it is the though that it is the responsibility of the person who has to be more trained and to take care of that, but it's, basically it is the system needs to see when such incentives are given for quick work or something. So that the total system is responsible. This is one part. The other here, that the conflict within a person. So ultimately, it is the culture which predominates. What sort of culture is prevailing in the system? People behave in that fashion. This is my understanding. People want to remain safe so that nobody can question.
Acha. So, do you think that is in case of the training, we should pay much attention to why you have to use the PPE rather
See,
than
okay.
you have to use the PPE. So, if I said that as per rule, you have to use the PPE, and if I say others, that is, what are the underlying reason uh, for using the PPE or for not using the PPE?
See, PPE for that, my experience is that normally we see at site mostly complying, maybe to some extent where it is a matter of habit. So initially, people, anybody who is using a new to usage of PPE, they find it easy not to wear such things because anything additional wearing is a hindrance and feel uncomfortable. Even I also remember when I was wearing fast safety shoes, it was so heavy than the normal shoe. I was feeling uncomfortable. So some I've also heard complaint while we initiated helmets. People said that I have sweating in my head. So people feel uncomfortable. So once people get adjusted and the people start, people normally wear. Though there are certain violations we see here and there, but mostly PP related out of total, if I see the percentage is less.
We have noticed that the green group, they know the reason and they are using PPE, but in the red group, they are not interested the PPE. So can you think any other approach?
Okay, red means he has certain behavioral issues. He has behavioral issues. I do not know. Maybe it may so happen red group may have lower spiritual account in terms of numbers. Maybe. So red group, due to they are more maybe egoistic, maybe, and maybe they do not follow that.
That means there are people who are following uh, the meaning of PPE. They have understood the meaning of PPE, and there are some workers who are able to understand the meaning of PPE.
Maybe there is
And
another factor called that is the risk perception. Some people have low risk perception and they violate. Like everybody knows that we need to wear helmet while riding a bike, but people have a less risk perception. Nothing will happen to me, and they go without bike, without the helmet.
so, what will be the training strategy? What will be the training strategy for
Training
maintaining
strategy,
the PPE?
training strategy mostly uh, it is a felt leadership, we can say.
What we have thought of is basically to show them some videos of incidents where it can be proved to them that what happens if somebody doesn't wear PPEs. What can happen. So once the risk perception improves, I think maybe there is a chance of more compliance.
And sir, can we means assume that whatever the culture means we are trying to adopt like interdependent. So if we move from interdependent means if we achieve that interdependent culture, then all of the worker will be in Saswat.
I cannot say that, but what I can say that because once there is a safety marshal in that concept, he keeps a close check on his people, so uh, that compliance will be ensured better. Number one. Number two, maybe once it becomes a habit, it is very easy to follow. This is my thoughts.
So, can anybody tell that is PPE just lies at the Murto layer? At that time, what will be the perception of PPE? Whether it creates the approach avoidance conflict? Now you have understood the conflict theory, conflict types. So whether this PPE creates the approach avoidance conflict to the people with Murto layer? I know I have to wear the PPE. But again, I may feel eye sweating if I use the PPE. So Professor Subhashish Patru has joined. Hello, Subhashish.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Subhashish. We are waiting for you. Professor Subhashish Patru is from the NIMHANS, Bangalore. You know that is the role of NIMHANS, particularly mental health issue. And Subhashish recently published one book in a Springer publication related to the safety and disaster management. Subhashish, whether he will use any PPT
Yes,
or
sir.
the
I'll
lecture?
do. I'll do a PPT also.
Okay, sure.
Yes, yes,
So I am making you host.
yes, sir.
Now, please.
Will there be any recording for this?
Yeah. Yeah, so it will be added with the earlier class and the next class.
I'm asking whether this will be recorded.
Yeah. Recording is there.
Okay.
Okay, Subhashish, now you can start.
Okay, so I will just start talking, and I'll try to explain something. Let me see whether it's become useful for you or not. I'm not very sure, but I hope somewhere you will be able to connect it with the work which you are doing. So today's topic which I'll be talking, let's see how do you connect it and where does it make sense for you. So I will be talking mainly a bit of thing and I would like you to reflect on it. It's not a big PPT, just to say where does it goes if we start looking at the psychosocial dimensions of safety in industries, theory to practice and transit to culture. So I was listening your talk and there's something comes up very clearly that there is a risk and there is a safety issue in the industry, and then something as a safety officer, safety manager, what do we do? So before I start talking, let me tell you, I will talk more like stories than telling you that what is the outcome or what should be done. So I hope you making sense out of it and tell me what is the understanding, finally a take home message from the mental health dimension to talk about the psychosocial dimensions to talk about safety issues. So just to tell you, how do I started looking at safety? So I am showing you very two picture. Though there is these pictures, looking at these two pictures, can you just tell me what are the pictures and what are the events? Yes, can you identify what are the pictures and what are the events? Any connections? Anyone can talk. I want you to
Bhopal,
talk.
Bhopal,
Yes.
Bhop-
Okay. And the other
Bhopal gas
one?
disaster.
Mm-hmm. Correct. And the right one?
It is Chernobyl, it looks like.
This is very recent one.
I
Uh,
think this is Goa fire.
you can see the reference there. You will get a clue. See, I did it purposefully. It is very slow, but you are able to see it now. The references. If you are looking at mobile, you can't really see it because it is really
It
small.
shows Telangana fire.
Yes, it shows this Telangana fire. So this is the first clue for you. See, you have to be observant. I asked you, and the answer was there. But I did not get the correct one without telling you the clue. So This is to start with from where culture of safety comes. Culture of safety, first thing comes, you being observant. Observant for what? For every clue which goes on. Often before the disaster, there are a lot of clues, in any industrial disasters. And we very clearly say the industrial disaster is something which happens because of human error, not because of human intentions. So this is something which is happening because of human error. And error comes from where? What is your understanding about error? And where it comes from? Please tell me. What is your understanding about error? Error, mistakes, error. What is your understanding about it? What is error? Yes? I didn't get. Answers, please reflect.
I think it comes from human behavior.
Human behavior. Then little more get into it, where it comes from, error.
It's a deviation from what needs to be done.
Okay, what need to be done? It's become deviation. Very, very correct. Little more error. Error comes from where? Yes, it's deviation. It comes from, please, little more you think and tell me where. And think very simply. Why a student at class 5 makes an error in mathematics? Think about that. A child making error at 5th standard. Kyun? And all of you are parents, I'm very sure. Kyun? Why the mistakes happen? Tell me 3-4 reasons.
Not properly observant.
Not properly observant. Then next.
Lack of knowledge.
Lack of knowledge. Then
Lack of situational awareness.
lack of situational awareness. Then
Work pressure.
work pressure. So being too much work pressure, so unable to concentrate or mind about error. Very correct what you have said. If you put them together, what do you see? A child making a mistakes in class 5 and somewhere being a safety officer, an engineer who are working in the industries, making an error also have the similar factors. So there may be lack of knowledge, lack of competency, lack of situational awareness, lack of what you say, this kind of skills or understanding of the situation. And there is somewhere, as you said, that there was a lack of kind of handling ability to the situations. That's why I gave the clue and gave the picture both to tell you what is this pictures. I thought all of you will tell, sir, you have given a reference, so it is very clear it is from Bhopal and it is from Telangana, but it did not come. And this is to tell, like many things we see, but we do not observe. If you have to prevent error, you have to observe. Now, what does it mean by observation? Now, tell me, today morning you went to office. Today, did you went to office? Yes? All of you? Did you
Yes,
attend your
yes.
duties? Very
Yes.
good. How do you commute? You have gone by the road and you must have seen some vehicles. Tell me any number, any uh, number of an auto rickshaw which has crossed you from the left. If I ask you, can you tell me a registration number of an auto? The definite answer, no, sir. We have seen so many auto has gone because we have just seen it, we did not observe it. So observation means, being observant means what? We have to put a focus. We have to put a focus, then only observation comes. And then observations also have an analytical perspective to think. So, preventing a disaster comes from all the skills which you said, in addition being observant. Then only it will come. And now let me go get into my personal story. How did I started exploring disaster in the industries? Can you identify this picture? What kind of picture you are seeing? Can you identify this picture?
It's
Again, I'm taking. Yes. Tell
It's a
me.
chimney.
It's a chimney. And this kind of chimney, what do you see?
Thermal
Power
power.
plant.
Thermal
Refinery
power.
power plants.
Very correct. So this picture is coming from where?
Midnapur, West Bengal.
Yes.
This is
Very
Kolaghat.
correct.
This is Kolaghat.
Very nice. So how do you get to know this is Kolaghat? Do you belong to that place?
Yes, I'm from Calcutta and I had been Haldia for a long time.
So
It
you
is
have
written.
crossed.
Yeah, it
Yes,
is
it is
written.
written.
It is
Very
written
good.
there.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to listen that. So now you started reading the writing. See, now I have told you to be observant, you became observant. So this is called how safety works. And my father, at that time he was working, he has retired from here. Now he is almost 85. He was working as a civil engineer here in this, and I lived in the quarter here in my childhood to my kind of master degree still. I was there. We left this place when my father retired in 2000. So this place when I was working during my MSW, I was also posted in this industry for my field work in 1997. And that time, obviously, when I was posted in this from my college, my father did facilitate that posting, and I was getting good care, being a son of an officer of this power plant, and the manager who was the HR manager, he was taking me around all that, and I did a small dissertation in that time in master degree, which was to talk about incidents of industrial accident and safety measures. At that time, I did not know anything about psychological aspect, but what really I observed that time, being just 20 years, 22 years old master degree student at the time, what I felt very clearly that industrial accidents, what is happening here is lot coming from the negligence. So after I worked, that HR manager was very nice. He had read my that time master degree thesis was nothing big quality, but he said, good that you started looking into the behavioral aspect into it, how people ignore, how people sometimes did not understand, because I interviewed some people who had faced accident and or who had seen their colleagues working there got into an accident, and some fatal cases also in some of the rare cases. So all that was happening. So when I interviewed, I get one factor very clearly, that people sometimes took the situation of danger very casually. As I joined this session today, the first thing I was listening that you were discussing with Professor Roy about risk perception. What I had observed that time, that the people often did not have enough understanding about the risk which is there in the surrounding. And that's how the psychology works. That how do we see, how do we perceive, how do we look into this? And if we see, and then I did another study over there during my PG diploma in IR and PM, and there also I had seen some of the aspect, how it is impacting the community as a whole. And that time there was another thing which was very coming up in the field was RR policies, rehabilitation and resettlement policies. When this industry started building up there were many villages. What I recall, around 13 or 14 villages was replaced. So I went to this community to identify how is their situation. That's a purely difficult thing, but a different thing. But to say that my key understanding was that industry and the industrial safety is not limited within its boundaries. The industrial safety culture is closely connected with the people who works there, from where they come, and the whole ecosystem of the society, how it is being seen. That all depends how the industry is becoming safe. So industrial safety goes beyond the boundary. It goes to the family, it goes with the individual, it goes with the communities, goes with everything. Why I am talking this? I'm talking this because a person who is coming from family, if family is disturbed, then what happens? And he has to handle something. You see, there is a very high chance that the person will have deviation in concentrations and have a high chance of making mistakes. Show how is the family situation, how is the person's individual health, physic, mind, family. Everything is coming up with safety and it compromises safety. That's how it goes. That's how it works. And very simply, people start making mistakes even in the small kind of work. Like if I tell you very quickly, if you don't take help of any AI and just you have to do very simple thing. You have to put me in the chat box. You have your chat box here in our this one. This is the in our chat box. You have to write something like this. My chat box is visible to you or not? I'm not sure. Is it visible, my chat box? My chatting is visible. What I'm putting in the chat, I am just putting, then I am posting it. See, I have written 1, 2, 3, 4, A, 6, 7, 8, 9, B.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Got it? No, like that, you have to start from 20. 20 become D. Okay. Like that, you have to replace every 5 with English letter D, E, F, G, H and quickly type it. And I request you do not take help of the AI chat box or chat GPT. Okay. Do it honestly and put it till 60. Still 60 you type it. Start from 20 with D and reach till 60, replacing every 5 multiples with subsequent English letter. Got it? D, E, F, G, H, it will come. So like that, you have to type it from 20 to 60 and post it within 30 seconds. Got it? Any confusion? Got it? Any confusion? Yes?
Not got it.
Yes. Again, listen. You are able to see my chat 1, 2, 3, 4A, 6, 7, 8B. What I have done, 5 and 10 I have replaced with AB. So like that, 15 will be replaced with C and 20 will be replaced with D. Like this, from 20 to 60, you have to write in the chat box replacing every 5 multiples with English letter and post it within 30 seconds. Got it?
Okay.
No, not happening. You have to write D as 20, then 21, 23, 24, E, 26, 27, 28, 29, then 30 will be replaced by like that, F. So like that, you have to write from 20 to 60 in the chat box and put it. I'm giving you 1 minute. Okay, I'm giving you 1 minute, a good time. Got it? I want to have the chat. I hope it is clear. Any confusion, still ask me. I started getting chats, yes. Yes, more chats from all of you. All of you are able to see each other's chat? Yes, I need to get some more chats with the task I have given. Yes. Some more chats. Yes, one more. I think I should get around 9 altogether. Yes, now don't copy from each other. Okay, now look into it and tell me which one is correct. You yourself tell me. Is Sejal's one correct? Which should come at 60?
I did not replace 20.
Yes. And Anand, what happened? You just written D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Before you understood, you responded. And then next time you have replaced D. Now tell me what is the final? I do not know. What is the correct one? Can you identify, Anand? What is the correct one? Correct series?
So maybe my understanding is not correct because I have
Okay,
written
now the second
EFGH.
one.
Yeah.
The
So
second one is
somebody
correct. You
double
identify
E,
which one is correct. Somebody, Anand, you have ended with L. Somebody ending with K. Which one is correct?
A is correct. I have made that mistake. I have made 2E. Double E हो गया.
Okay.
That's why it ended with K.
Okay. And Samir, where is the mistake? Samir, tell me where is the mistake?
I have started from the number rather than
Yes, you had to go. The 20 should be D. Okay,
right.
thank you. Thank you. Hope. How was this activity? How was this activity? Tell me. How was this activity? When you were doing, what was happening? Tell me what was the thoughts coming when I asked you to start writing like this?
Actually, sir, when you gave the time frame na at that time, uh,
Huh?
my mind started typing something like, हाँ ठीक है चालू करते हैं.
Okay, good. What else was coming in your mind? Someone else, can you respond? I want you to talk. And
competition.
I'm not talking.
Competition.
Yes, tell me. Yeah,
Time pressure.
Competition. I should finish first
I
before
should finish
anybody
fast.
else.
Good, good. So if you see, any other thought was coming, any other thought was coming. Tell me. Anyone can unmute and talk. Yes, please tell me. Yes, any other thought? Okay, now tell me how many really made the correct answers. If you look at, you only will know that most of us made mistakes, though it is a very simple task. Is it or not? Do you agree with me or not? That is a simple task, but still we made mistakes. Do you agree?
Yes.
Yes. Now, let me tell you why do we make mistakes, even into a simple task like writing 20 to 60. Because I added a norm into it, which very commonly we don't do. We write usually like numbers very frequently, we don't have problem, but I just combined the number with a alphabetic replacement. Once I gave this task, it's become bit more challenging. So more attention was needed. And that's how it goes. So when the challenges comes and if it creates a stress on us, even a simple task we cannot complete successfully, or we tend to make mistakes even in the simple task. That's why industrial safety get compromised when people are under stress. When people are under stress, they make mistakes, they tend to make mistakes because stress reduces functionality. The biological reason of it, I'll talk a bit later. Now, let me come and tell you, this is the common approach we do when we look at any disaster context. Similarly, when you look at the industrial disaster context, we say you must have to go ahead to build your mind to understand HRV. Have you heard about this HRV? Yes or no? Already discussed or not? Has it been discussed? Yes, no, anything you can put in the
No,
chat or you
no,
can
no,
talk. No.
no, not
Okay,
this.
then let me tell you. So, this is a very important concept psychologically to understand HRV, which is psychological, which is also social, which is also economic, which is also environmental. Hazard, risks, vulnerability. What is hazard? If I tell you, whoever is the participants now, Mr. Avijit, can you read what is hazard? I just want you to read instead of I read them. Can you read?
Hazard, a
Yes,
process,
please.
phenomena, or human activity that may cause loss of life, injury, or other health impacts, property damage, social and economic disruption, or environmental degradation,
Yes.
explosion, leakage in chemical storage, etc.
Thank you. So, what is hazard? This is written very clearly. Let me explain a bit more. So, hazard is a process, okay? It's a phenomena, it's something happening or a human activity that's become hazard. And that has a potential that may cause, that means it has a potential to cause all this. So, whenever we are looking, there is a hazard, there are many hazards like this in an industry. So, if you are a safety manager, it is very, very essential to do that hazard analysis, and it has to be done regularly. It has to be done in group. So people understand, by doing they become aware about it. And that make them to think what is the hazard, what it is. And if I ask you, Asmita, can you talk and read what is risk? Madam Asmita, can you read if you are not busy? Ashmita De? Probably she is busy. Anyway, Samir Kumar, you are here.
Yes, I will read.
Can you read? Yes, please.
Risk means an apprehension or a threat of something untoward happening. Risk is defined as the likelihood of a specified undesired event occurring within a specified period or in specified circumstances. High heat zone, lack of escape route.
These are risks. So risks are also there. Means an apprehension or a threat or something untoward happening. That is called risk. Risk is something, and if you read, if as you have read, you see it's a specific undesired event occurring within a specific period or in specific circumstances. So every time it doesn't happen. As you said, every day if we go on the road with the bike or with the four-wheeler is a risk. But everyday accident doesn't happen. It is within a specific period, specific circumstances only it happens. The day probably it is something somebody dozed off while driving, or somebody did not that did not see properly the vehicle coming, or something crossover like in Rajasthan. There will be lot of accident because cows are on the road at night when you were driving on the highway. So this was a huge risk. So risk is defined as a likelihood of a specific undesirable event happening within a specific period. So in an industry, there are a lot of risk like high heat zone, lack of escape route. There are a lot of risk. So as we identify hazard, we also identify risk. And then something called vulnerability. And that vulnerability again is something which is okay, madam has said there was some issue with the no issues, madam. So that is fine. So what we are seeing is that this way the risk do happen. And now if I ask Sejal, can you read the next one, vulnerability?
Yes, yes. Vulnerability is condition that makes the structure, situation, or people weak and exposed. Lack of
Yes.
training, safety equipment.
Yes. So these are different HRV. If you see the hazard, risk, and vulnerability, and then there is an exposure. If you see on the right side, something written as exposure. So this is to say this exposure is something which is causing the problem. So this exposure is something which is causing a problem. So once you get exposed, all this become important. Now the below formula, if you observe what it says, like hazard into vulnerability into exposure. See, the risk is increasing when there is hazard, vulnerability, exposure. And if we have to reduce that, then we have to build the capacity. That's how we have to do the training. That's how we have to learn. And that's how it works. So if I understood, I would like you to please read it again very clearly and understand. Because now again I'll be doing an exercise which I would like you to talk. Okay? Fine? You are happy talking to me? Okay? Fine. No, I expect you are happy. If you are not, please tell me. Okay. Now look at this picture. Very childish picture. It shows what it shows. Everything is visible. Please list the hazard in the environment around the school. Tell me what are the hazards here. Can you talk or can you put in the chat box? Anything is fine. Can you talk? Can you list the hazards? Yes, please.
Yes, the bus is at the edge of the road where there's some drain or drain over which over the culvert the students are standing, and the door is somewhere where there is not enough space for students to enter the bus, so there is a chance of falling inside that drain or
Very
canal.
nice. Yes. Some more? Someone tell me some more.
There is something also roll type of thing. It is on the just before the culvert. So anybody
Yes.
coming rushing can there can be slip and fall due to that
Correct.
item.
Correct. Very nice. Some
The,
more?
the school bus, the school
Hmm.
bus is parked opposite to the school. Ideally, it
Yes.
should be in the line of a school so that a student can conveniently climb on the bus without
Yes.
crossing the road.
Yes. Board or deboard from the bus. Very correct. Some more? Some more? Look little more.
Factory premises.
Bus
Yes, please.
Factory premises is nearby where the black smoke is coming out.
Very
Black
correct.
chemical, yeah, it can create health problems. Then after
Health
moving
risk.
vehicles are there.
Yes. Someone else was talking, please.
Yes, I think bus should be on the road. It is parked on in park area.
Okay. Okay. Some more if you identify. Thank you for answering. What you told is very correct. See, now we are becoming observant. We are seeing, and if you still observe, we will get more. Like the bridge on what kids are standing, there is no railing, and that so that's an uncovered bridge. There's chance of fall, and you said like bus is not near to the school and industry, pollution, car. So there are so many things to tell, and it's just a picture created through Chat GPT just to understand that we have to do an HRV analysis. So what does it mean? See, there is this factor like progression of vulnerability. This vulnerability progresses because of various reasons. Like there are a lot of underlying cause, limited access to safety equipments and resources, disparities in ideologies, somebody doesn't really consider it as so important. General perceptions, as you say, people do not think about risk. General perception. And there are a lot of dynamic pressures which keep changing. Lack of local institutional support, sometimes that cause problem. Training and skill, investment, etc., like investment for training and skills. And there are macro forces which I have again talked, like environmental degradation, increasing cost of safety, which often compromise with the company's profit. Then what is done? Cost cut in safety. Then there are unsafe conditions like fragile physical environment, dangerous location, dangerous building, unsafe infrastructure, risks to life, outdated technology. So all these are unsafe conditions. And there are different kind of hazards like in triggering event. If I talk, I was in Japan after the 2013, I think, the Fukushima disaster, which I have written an article about triple disaster. Fukushima, earthquake, tsunami, and then it leads to the industrial disaster, leakage of the Fukushima power plant. So triple disasters. So if you see, there are many things like this which are there as an hazard. So we have to understand that such kind of compromise conditions can cause an industrial accidents or industrial disaster. For that reason, what is essential is that continuously we have to work towards reducing the hazard, risk, and vulnerability because exposure to those working conditions are there. So if we can build the capacity, we can reach to a conditions which is called a theory of no disaster. If you are seeing this, I'm not sure whether my control P, now it worked. So if we see, if the capacity increases, this is the capacity which increases. If we increase the capacity, what happens? Vulnerability reduces. See, vulnerability reduces. So if we have very high capacity, it's like the demand supply curve. Its demand supply curve goes like this. If we have very high level of capacity, vulnerability reduces. So if you have very high level of capacity, vulnerability reduces. And then what happens? The chance of disaster reduces. That way it is possible to reach to a level with high level of capacity and low level of vulnerability. So what happens is that your exposure reduces very, very much. And that way what we see, it is possible, theoretically it is possible to reach to a situation where we can say there is no disaster. And this is called theory of no disaster. How we can reach to it is this formula, that we have to ensure we continuously do the hazard risk vulnerability assessment. That's how I reach. And this is the psychological perspective of preparedness. What is the psychological perspective talks about, which you already told? At 4 level, we have to see it. At individual level, what you said, people go, do not wear helmet. Or what you say, see the this portion, right side, if you see the preparedness and safety, when it is low and when it is high, this is something which we need to understand, that at individual level, when it's become very low, when there is a fatalistic attitude, nothing happens to me, or unrealistic optimism, I am working here for so many years, nothing happened. Risk rejection, like once somebody do not wear helmet, it simply risks rejections. And then there is anxiety about performance, that also cause low preparedness at individual level. So what is needed? People should get into the process, people should participate into the process, then only it happens, it's change. By talking it doesn't change, but when something done in by practice, there is higher chance it's become part of the habit. Habit is not being built by knowledge, habit is being built by practice. Because if you see, every gutka packet or cigarette packet has so big information which increase knowledge. Every person consume gutka knows it creates cancer, but still people take. Why? Because it is risk rejection. So it's become habit. Only once they face it, only they start really getting into it, visiting a place where the tobacco related cancer being treated, then only there might be some change. When it is high, when there is a critical awareness, they understand very critically. There is an action coping. So what is being said? Action coping means I have to act to protect myself. I need to put the seat belt. I need to wear PPE kit. I need to wear mask. I need to wear helmet. I need to check before getting into a situation which has many operations. So everything. So that is the responsible attitude. These at the individual level do create higher level of preparedness and safety. The same way in a unit or team, no industry we work alone. We have usually team. So when it is low, when the team has lot of barriers to access information, there is not proper information flow. There is a lack of support from the leader, or there is a competing interest about something, maybe promotion or something, or there is an internal conflict. Then what happens within the unit if this persists? Then definitely the low safety and preparedness. On the other hand, if there is a very important role relation, shared view, kind of family or team unity. So the team works like a close family. There is a regular planning. Then what happens? High level of team preparedness to deal with the industrial safety. The same as a whole industry as a unit. If there is a high level of conflict, disharmony, weak authority, leadership, administration, preparedness and safety is low. On the other hand, trusting bond, participation, mutual respect, working together, place identity where they are, they feel it's me, it's belong, like it's responsibility, my team's responsibility, my industrial growth is part of my growth. All this takes place. Then what happens? There is a high level of preparedness and safety. The same way the larger society, the industrial policy, the ministry, the pollution control board, all this comes up. Because if you see the reports 2024 has how many, somewhere some hundreds of people died in 2024 because of industrial disasters. See, if we see at the larger societal level, there is lack of policy, inefficiency of civic authorities, corruption, all this creates a low preparedness. The same way empowering setting, building better, built better before. This we call BBB. So once we are doing HRV, hazard risk vulnerability assessment, together we understand and we work for BBB. What is BBB? Built better before. So at every context we have to do that. So that's how it goes. So there are a lot of social environmental belief, relationship, information flow, evaluation and consideration. So this is a consistent process. See, if we have to build a safety, it's a matter of psychological perspective that how we are building the preparedness. So that's how I tried to tell you how to be observant. If you think the first picture I showed, there was a very small clue. Almost nobody has observed. Second picture, it was big. You watch the picture and you read the text. You tell it is the Kolagar thermal power. Like that, what happens? We learn being observant and we learn being doing it. So what is that? This is a cultivate protective factors and eliminate risk factor. Cultivate protective factors, eliminate risk factors. And this goes with all biological, psychological, unit, industry, or cultural level. How the overall culture of the industry is being built up. Sure, these all conditions contribute to the protective factor. On my left, I have tried to give in something. You can keep on adding more. Engaging and the connectedness, physical, psychological safety, presence of instructor, mentor, supervisor, supportive atmosphere, what I talked in last show. That is the last theory to build into practice. We have to ensure we cultivate the protective factor. We cultivate the protective factor collectively. We cultivate the protective factor at individual level. The same way the risk factor. The increased chance of problem outcome when there is a risk factor. It increased chance. A problem means it is an accident. It may be a small one to a bigger one. Any accident is a huge cost to the industry. It's a huge cost to the industry. Bigger accident, bigger cost. So there is abuse, exploitative environment, lack of significant support, what all we talk, lack of policy increase. So taking this, I would like to tell you now, I come from a mental health institute, I come from a mental health background. To tell you, to build the culture of safety, we need to have good mental health. Do you agree or not? And mental health is everywhere, whatever we do. Mental health is everywhere. It is part of it. WHO has given a big definition. Once you start dividing, it has only four things very clearly. And it is all very, very positive. What does it mean, mental health? It's a state of well-being that enable people to do four important things. You yourself will perspective that whether I'm having a good mental health. If I'm able to cope with stress effectively, sure, I talk, I manage. Sure, how do I cope? I don't escape. I don't smoke to avoid my stress. Rather, I discuss, I learn, I wait, I prepare response is coping with stress positively. Realize own potential. That means what I could do and trying to work for it. And ability to learn new skill, like you have come, all of you. So you are trying, you are making your best effort to learn. It's again a very important symbol, very important sign that the learning new skill is part of mental health. And then it's work efficiently. So mental health means four things. If we are able to do this four, that means we are having good mental health, which creates individual capabilities, collective capabilities, or collective abilities, like my team, like my industry, and it creates overall well being. On the other hand, at the bottom, you see one side is mental health, another side is mental illness. That is distress, functional impairment, or risk of self-harm or risk of industrial accident. All that become a part of illness dimensions. So overall, safety is for mental health is for safety. So this way, mental health need to be understood under four dimensions. Okay, coping with stress, realize potential, learn skill, work efficiently. Then the chance of higher mental health achievement and reducing the risk and having higher safety become important. Telling that, let me tell you, when I started, there's a biology into it. Very simple. I'll not get into this complexity. Very simply, in our body, there are very three important things: brain health, gut health, cardiac health. These three interact very closely. How? You think a very simple incident. If you are being having a bad time with your boss, then what happens? One day your boss and you had a fight, then what is the outcome happens? Your mind is very disturbed, you couldn't sleep at night, and then what happened? What you eat, it doesn't get digested. Or it may be otherwise. There is a big family issue is going on. Then you don't get sleep, what we eat or don't feel like eating, then unable to sleep, and then the mind is disturbed. It creates lots of stress hormone. On the other hand, if you see, this is called prefrontal cortex. This portion takes the executive decisions. Here, the neurotransmitters reactions create a clouded consciousness where we are under stress. And often here is something called amygdala, which controls our anxiety, our fear, those kind of heightened emotions. This gets activated. Once that get activated, somebody might show a lot of anger outburst, somebody might be very kind of upset, because this portion of the brain gets defunct to some extent because of the neurotransmitter change, because of the hormonal change in the body. Stress hormones do not releases more, and it doesn't get digested within the body, whereas the happy hormone gets less released. So what we are talking about, mind, is not just mind, it is mind and body is connected. What How is our wellness, mental health, these influence these three things. So mental health is a product of all these things also. That is called the gut health, brain health, and the cardiac health are so closely related. Once we work for better mental health, we do better. Now I talk about self-care. I'll not read them. This is called alphabet of self-care, which we must practice, that we get into. I'll send you, sir might share with you and you can look into. And I will say, like, holistic living is very important. Holistic living means we should take care of our mind, physical health, some amount of recreation, some amount of spiritual. Spiritual has a lot more things. So when I talk, I just say it's spiritual, it's something where we derive an energy form and we believe there is somebody bigger than me, which I might pray, I might feel good, I might feel okay with that by connecting somebody which is higher order and feeling kind of gratitude to that power. That is the spirituality. It can come from religion, it can come from nature, it can come from any frame of belief which we have personally. And in West, there is a whole big group which are non-religious but spiritual. So to say these, when we bring together, it called holistic living. So to keep well and to be safe, it is very important that we feed our mind that peace and hope. So let us strive for mental health and well-being to create culture of safety. Mind is the ultimate powerhouse, and you can identify who it is. Otherwise, I will tell you can see and find out who is that, who works more to improve his performance, and he has got the largest number of medal in this thing in this Olympic. So I'll end here and tell it with a simple statement. This education or training is not learning the facts, but training the mind to think. So I'll stop here. We have around 6 minutes for your reflection, understanding, questions, discussions. And this is all about me. And this is to tell that I am now working as a professor of aid in NIMHANS in a department of psychosocial support in disaster management, which is very unique of its own. I have spent my life almost 26 years of working now in different institute, and 10 years I have worked in typically in the field of disaster, and that is my core field which I have seen in different context. And we have published a book. I forgot to bring that slide which sir had told. I'll just add that and send it to you. So thank you for your patient listening, and I'll stop sharing and I will request if you have any question, reflection, comments, you are open to tell me how boring or whether any take home message you take at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Actually, if you see the today's word, there are three words like growth, success, progress. All these are impacting your mind.
Yes,
Competition. So, how to overcome this situation? Because see, in a today's life, if you are not doing well, you are maybe you are doing at your phase, whatever is your phase, you are doing the work with that phase. But your expectation, maybe you have to do something more, you have to do something else,
yes,
and
yes,
maybe sometimes because of the scenario, maybe was the system exists in the annual rating, so you have to
yes,
perform better. All these things
yes.
also impact mind of the people. So how to overcome all these conditions?
Okay, so see, all these conditions are impacting our mind. All these conditions are definitely a challenging situation and growth, the personal desire, all this comes up together. Now, how to overcome it? So, what you have asked me is a very relevant question, but do we have a relevant answer? That I would like to know. So, see, now, what you have posted as a whole is to understand it three conditions. What are those three conditions? Like, where do you derive satisfaction from? So this satisfaction comes from different layers. How do you define your own achievements? And this growth, competition, everything was there, will be there, and it will be driving. It will be driving us. So to say that the mind get disturbed by this, when we are more driven by the success rated by others. So if we are more focused on success rated by self, it helps. Now, how it will, like if we go, like we say, if it is defined by money, if it is defined by position, we will keep running behind it. But once somebody find that level of attainment, which you are learning from, sir, all these different layers of consciousness, if at the higher level of consciousness somebody is settled with the achievement, then
এটা পারলাম না
it's
খেতে
become then it's become more and more attaining. Sir, would like to tell any light on this, the question?
Yeah, right, right. Thanks for answer, sir.
Thank you, Subhashish.
Thank
You
you.
have started the major issue that human error is there, and you have identified what are the underlying reasons for the errors. In our consciousness theory, the three layers are there. So if the individual lies within the Murto and Rag layer, there is the high probability for making error. And if the individual lies at the Saraswat layer, then there will be less probability to make the error. And whatever the things you have presented through the PPT, that is very nice. You have started the main issue, that is the cognitive error. So it appears to me, whatever your presentation, that is very much related to the cognitive behavior therapy approach also. And I think that is our safety officers, they have understood that is the your hazard vulnerability HVD issue, and they have understood the how to manage the risk in the industry by changing the layers of consciousness. So thank you, Subhashish. You are very much busy. I know it, and still you have arranged your time for us. Mm. So for that reason, I am very much thankful to you. Yes, this thing I am expecting. So I am requesting Tata Power Plant, if possible, you can purchase this book. This will be available in Springer. So that will help you.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, dear participants, that you have given me so much response. And I hope you have got. So I hope that there is some take-home message. So if there is no more feedback, or if you would like anybody to unmute and talk about any take-home message, or how did you like, you can talk for 1 or 2 minutes. Otherwise, we'll close. Okay? Any more feedback? Anything we
Today,
can?
just incidentally, in our office, we had been speaking on this subject, mental health. And sometimes when we talk about mental health in industry, people feel helpless. What to do, how to manage. But this is a real life issue, and sometimes we feel helpless how to address that because of the dimensions. Of because in a plant maybe 2000 people are working together, so how to address mental health of all those people, this vast number of people, and where so many high risk activities are going on, and so it all only depends upon the vigilant eyes through which is maybe something abnormal looks like, and somebody intervenes to stop him in participating in a high risk job. Otherwise, it's a real problem, and nowadays it's a big issue. We have seen so many incidents happening, even fatality also happening due to mental health issues. It's a very pertinent subject, and it's a matter of thing. I think people have to be more conscious conscious on these subjects, because I don't think that safety as a subject where such things are touched upon, psychology and this mental health, these things are not taught in safety curriculum. But nowadays, this is very important and one should understand this.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Das. Thank you for putting it up. Yes, this is very, very important. This has to be part of culture, and it doesn't happen only by one day. It has to get into regular discussion, regular awareness session, creating a mass level and helping them to identify. Yes, you can identify your stress level and you have options to take help. So that encourage, and we are all working for that, because better mental health, we become better human being and life become more pleasurable, enjoyable. That's how mental health is. It's all about taking care of each other, taking care of self, and that makes as a whole the life more satisfying and fulfilling. So this is to say, like, it's very important pertinent topic, so we should have more discussion, talking. That helps. Once we are aware, like we say, balanced diet. Okay, we're not worried about balanced diet till we have a diabetes, so we know what is the diet I should take now. So that's become prescriptive diet. Mental health is something, if we understand, every day we'll start practicing, like writing diary, talking to somebody about it, or listening to a small music, practicing some amount of physical activity, practicing some amount of meditation. So all these small steps make a huge difference. That's how the whole concept of mental literacy started. And long ago, these are all old concepts to say that, but nowadays they are all very, very important. And we are developing school mental health policy now. I am a member with the ministry for developing. Again, we are talking that how each and every unit become most important safe place where we go, where we interact, so we create a better place for our generations and for ourselves. Thank you for all of your reflections, and thank you for joining. So we can close the session, sir.
Yes, you are the host. So I
Thank you.
hope in near future we will find you again
Thank you.
for the another course or another program. Thank you,
Thank
Shivaji.
you. Thank you. Good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir.